Are we on the air?
Ruh-roh. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. As you guys can see, we are back in the shop today over at San Limo, and we're working on this car again today. We're going to get this thing ready for wiring. This is that Honda V6 to VW, or VW to Honda V6 swap. As you can see, we got the back half all welded in, got the MIG out, got the lower bars welded, got the motor mounts all wrapped up on both sides. I'm gonna go ahead and stick the bolts back in those. Get the radiator bolted back in. I think Joe's got the water plumbing over here on the TIG table. So he's gonna weld that stuff up for us today. As you can see, it's been busy around here with building arms for customers' cars. So we're gonna go ahead and get back to work on this, get the bolts back in the motor mounts. And when I bought this motor, it didn't come with a throttle body. So we went to the wrecking yard today and picked one up. We're gonna get this thing cleaned up, get it bolted on the motor, and start getting this thing ready to be wired up. All right, guys, we got all the welding finished up. We're gonna go ahead and pull this motor back out. We realized when we put the motor in, this has got a weird setup down here for the where the tranny bolts up. There needs to be spacers in here. So we're gonna put longer studs in it, which we have, and we're gonna weld a piece of chromoly in there as a spacer. So we're gonna go ahead and pull the motor back out, and then that'll give us a chance to grind down this stuff we cut and VA it, and then we can sit the motor back in for the last time. All right, guys, stick around. We're gonna pull this thing out and get to grinding. All right, as you can see, we got these all ground down. I got back here as best as I could. Got them all DA'd on both sides, and then now these can be sanded and painted or primered or whatever. We're gonna leave that up to the customer to do. So we're gonna move on. We changed the studs out in the bottom. We're gonna go cut some 3/4 inch chromoly spacers, and then we can slam this motor back in for the last time and figure out the battery. All right, guys, so we got the motor stuff back in. We got the longer studs put in. You got the nuts on the back. We're gonna go ahead and tighten those up. And we made our chromoly spacers right here. So once we bolt the motor and trans together and get it tight, we'll take the welder and we'll just tack weld these in. So that way, if you ever pull the motor out, they don't fall out. When I did take the Volkswagen motor out of this car, there was a bunch of washers stacked in there that fell out. So we just made spacers. Like I said, we'll weld them in, and that way they're there forever. Unfortunately, the battery's not gonna fit back where we wanted it to. So he was running a big full-size lead acid battery in this car, which is a big no-no for sand cars anyway. This thing ever goes on its side, it's gonna leak acid everywhere. You need to run a sealed battery. So we're gonna run a PC 925. We're gonna go pick up a bracket for this. We're gonna mount it way up here in the front and then just run a 4 gauge to the back. That'll make it nice and simple back here. That means everything back here is complete, and we can go ahead and start putting this thing back together and get it ready for wiring. We're gonna slide the engine cage back on, get it all bolted down permanently, bolt up the motor mounts, and then we'll get the intake manifold set back on it. Pretty much wrapped up for the day here on this car. Like I said earlier, we got all the fabrication work done. Everything's tightened up. The motor mounts are in and bolted down. The motor was pulled back out. We put the spacers in, got bolts in it. It's all done and ready to go. This thing's bolted in for the last time. We're almost ready to move on to wiring. I've got to make the wire harness for this, which should just take me a couple hours to get it modified. And then I got to go to a local parts supplier and pick up a battery. We're going to put a battery like this up front and a tray for it. Rather than fabricate a tray, they make them. So it's a little easier just to grab one that's already made, tack weld it in or bolt it down, whatever. And then I can finish up the wiring. We can move on to the fuel system, which is going to be real basic. We're going to mount a high pressure fuel pump right here. We'll put a filter here, and this thing will be ready to fire. I'm still waiting on the headers to come in. I ordered those last week, so they should be here any day. We're just going to use automotive aftermarket headers, and then I think we're going to put a muffler like I normally do on my Honda V6 cars right here. We do a dual in, dual out. They sound really deep and throaty, and we got to pick up an air filter to go on the back. And other than that, guys, this thing is just about done. So it's going to be a fast little ripper too. These cars are really light. This is a SU ultralight. I've done a bunch of these cars with Honda V6s. I've got a couple of them that are turbocharged that are really, really fast. But yeah, this thing should be a ripper. He does have a small transmission in this car. He's running a 002 bus box, which is, you're on the cusp. It's really, really iffy with that kind of power of this motor, but this car is so light. As long as you take it easy on the throttle and just let the power take you where you want to go, I think it should be not an issue. Again, we're just waiting on the Fab Master over there in the fab shop to finish up the water plumbing, and this thing will be all wrapped up. Let's go over and take a look and see what's going on in the fab shop. I heard a bunch of grinding and noise over here, and let's go see what the madman's been up to today. Yep, there he is. So what do we got going on in here today, Joe? Holy crap, you shredded this whole car. So guys, yesterday when I was here, this was a complete car. And it looks like the man has just completely shredded it. This is the one I said we're gonna put this big S4 in. So it's getting re-back halved. You cut the whole back half off, right? It'll get re-back halved. And then monster arms in the front, and we're doing monsters in the rear. So monster front and rear arms. And is this a cruiser? This is just an older cruiser.
Cruiser two-seater that had a bus tranny in it, 3-speed with a twin-turbo Honda. Don't ask me why.
It looks like you got the upper shock mounts already done. I saw the jig on there earlier. He banged those out today. Just artwork, man, artwork. So yeah, things are moving along in this thing. So this will be coming along quick. And then this car is just a thing of beauty. This is our twin turbo Delusion. So like I showed you guys earlier, all the plumbing's done in purple. Twin turbos. I got the manifold off because I put the wire harness on. I got the top hats for the injectors. We're gonna put injectors in this thing tomorrow. And we're waiting on axles still, right? Waiting on axles, and we can get this thing on tires and it'll be done. God, this thing's gorgeous. I can't wait to drive this car. It's gonna be so fast. All right, guys, well, as usual, I forgot to shoot an outro while I was at the shop. So just getting done editing this video, so I'd shoot a little outro here. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Make sure you give us a like and a subscribe, hit that thumbs up button, and click the notification bell down there so you know when our new videos go live. Drop me a comment, I always respond. And guys, thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Stack them.
I'm looking.
Yeah, we gotta.
I'll do it. I'm bringing another. I'll bring a couple more tables. That way.
Just need to. Oh, there's one over there too.
Well, I know.